What's going on, Bird Gang? This is Darren Sproles here. I just want to thank y'all for tuning in to Eagles Brawl of the Brawl Network. Don't forget to subscribe to the show and leave a 5-star rating. Fly Eagles Fly.
All right, thanks for tuning in to Eagles Brawl of the Brawl Network. However you're listening, iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts, Stitcher, or YouTube. We greatly appreciate it. My co-host Tyler Steggy in the house. Tyler, we got some exciting news, actually. Some really, odd news, because when you hit me up with this, I was like, oh, no, I'm not doing that episode. But I will definitely be there, because we are having, from WIP, Joe Giglio on the show to discuss with us Carson Wentz, Howie Roseman, Doug Peterson, and his takes on the Eagles. We're going to debate him right here on Eagles Brawl. I have some questions for him and his takes. I know Tyler does. Tyler, how excited are you to have Joe on the show?
Yeah, I'm pumped. I'm pumped. I didn't think it would happen either. I just sent a DM because he released a take on Wentz.
Quite the take.
It was
quite the take on Wentz.
Yeah, and it'll all be discussed. I do want to just settle something real quick, because there's been a lot of people. I mean, yeah, we're excited to have him on, but I mean, there is going to be respect on this. You know, it's not just going to be, bashing or shitting on each other. We keep it honest, we keep it real here, but this is an adult. We are adults. This is we got to keep it real. So
it's not going to be Adam Cole, Pat McAfee type thing. we're not gonna throw things at him. We're not going to scream at him. We're not going to yell at him. We're going to be respectful. This is a podcast. This is a platform where we all have discussions and open discussions. But with that being said, I have never agreed with anything Joe has said. I have never agreed with any article he's written. His takes have been awful. So I have to finally get to the bottom of why he feels these certain ways. We have to figure it out. And I have to question it with my facts and my opinions, because for him to cite the NFL top 100 for a reasoning of not being on there for a make-or-break season for Carson Wentz is ludicrous. It's ludicrous. So from out, let's just take the Eagles fan hat off our heads real quick. Let's just because I'm looking from a complete outside perspective looking in. If you're looking at the Eagles, not an Eagles fan, you're not invested in the team at all. You probably watch them once a year, maybe twice if you're lucky. And you see that Carson Wentz always gets hurt, because that's what national perception of him is from outside the Eagles fan base, is that he always gets hurt. And you see what happened in the playoffs. Clowney takes him out of the game. He doesn't even. He gets trolled all the time for Derrick Henry having more playoff touchdowns than Carson Wentz. But just think about what everybody else sees about the Eagles. They go into this draft and they draft a quarterback in the second round after Carson Wentz gets hurt again, doesn't finish the season for the Eagles. If you're an outside fan and you're looking at the Eagles, you're probably thinking, because I don't know about you, Tyler, especially since you're out in California, but I have so many friends that aren't Eagles fans that actually think that this Jalen Hurts move is an indication of Carson Wentz's future. That's what the general football fan thinks. That's what Eagles fans don't struggle to understand, because we know that's not the case. We know how this team operates. I've been a fan of this team since '99. You've been a fan for this team forever. They always have a backup quarterback in place that we all know. Whether it's Jeff Garcia, whether it's Michael Vick, whether it's Nick Foles, they always AJ Feely. I can continue. I can go on forever. This team always values that backup quarterback position. They'll get the big game guys. They'll get the Vince Young in the building to back up Vick. They're not worried about what what national perception is about how they view the backup quarterback position, because throughout the history of the Philadelphia Eagles, especially the last 2 decades, the backup quarterback has come in and played meaningful games. So the way that this franchise looks at the quarterback position would be a little too complex for the general fan to understand. And I'm just going to tell the truth. That's just me being honest. I'm not saying that every team, like if you're a Raiders fan and you look at the Eagles and you think this way that Hurts going to take Wentz's job, that you're an idiot. I just don't think you know. I don't think you're really fully understand how much this team truly values the backup quarterback position. And my takeaway for reading Joe's article, and I'm going to say this to him as well, I don't think he takes that into consideration. I don't think he thinks that way. For what I gathered, what he implied is he pretty much thinks Jalen Hurts is going to come in and take Carson Wentz's job in a year or two. That's what he must think. And that's where I'm saying that's the disconnect from Joe from the Eagles, is because he's never really been a fan or invested in this team to realize, hey, this team always takes care of the quarterback position, and they will load it up. They will invest a ton of money in that quarterback position. They'll get the great backup that they think they need to get. They pay guys. This team gave Chase Daniel a huge contract because he was a reliable backup.
Hey,
they take this quarterback position, the backup quarterback position, so seriously. And I think if you don't understand that about the Eagles, there's the disconnect.
I thank you for that opening. That was good. Yeah, that's about 3.5 minutes of this pent up aggression.
Because I hear all this talk on Twitter, and I don't want to like toot my own horn or anything, because I don't think this is that many followers compared to like other football. But you have 6,000 something followers. I have like 7,000 something followers. Not all that's Eagles fans. Like, we're going to see all NFL talk. I mean, I wrote for Fansided for NFL. I talk NFL. I had an NFL podcast. I understand the whole entire league. So I see other fans and what they say. And it's clear as day to me that they don't have the perception of the team like somebody who's a fan for years invested in the team has. Because am I wrong? I just named 1 million backup quarterbacks that they brought in that are famous, that are well-known quarterbacks that started at some points in their careers. This team values it so much that they go into the second round and get one. And again, like in previous episodes, it's not like you and I agree with that move. It's not like we're loving them taking a quarterback in round 2. But at the end of the day, now that we had time to sleep on it, now that we had time to digest it, we're not that surprised anymore, because that's how much they value the backup quarterback position.
Would I rather have a Denzel Mims and Jalen Reagor? Absolutely.
Yes.
But I mean,
absolutely, that would have been great.
You just laid out a ton of things that I want to go back on. Yeah, I mean, outside of the Jalen Hurts pick in the second round, again, this wasn't a top 10 pick. This wasn't a top 20 pick. This wasn't a first round pick. This is somebody that they valued. He dropped in the draft, or didn't necessarily drop, but I didn't think that they anticipated him being there. And they were like, hey, this is a guy that we really like. We value this position. It made sense, and that was it. But other than that, like you said, there hasn't been any moves that have indicated that they don't have all their chips in Carson Wentz basket. It's in. First off, the contract. They just gave him $128 million last year. And then the weapons. It's not as if they're just ignoring Carson Wentz. They're trying to address what has been an issue in 2018 and 2019. They're trying to get speed. They're trying to get weapons for him. They they signed Alshon even after his rookie year. They don't want to do that again. So it's not as if there's any doubts. This isn't something it's just that, and people are going just off that. And also to the California thing, my God, yes, there's a lot of ignorant fans out here that just they don't even. California fandom is East Coast is. You guys are so much more blessed when it comes to knowledge and the average fan, because California, it's bad, man. Just look at like the Chargers. They can't.
There's some Eagles fans that aren't even that smart, to be honest with you. I hate to throw them under the bus every day, but it's everywhere. I'm sure you deal with it more because there's probably way less of an Eagles fan base out there. In Florida, there's a ton of an Eagles fan base because if you live in Pennsylvania or up on the East Coast, up north on the East Coast, and you retire, you're moving to Florida. So there's a ton of Eagles fans down here. But there's some fans that still think they should have kept Nick Foles. So
Yeah.
it's
exactly. I mean, people still. I mean, and that's a thing here too. You know, like, oh, where is Foles playing nowadays? Like, okay, that just let me know I'm just not going to talk to you. We should just not.
right. I want to expand on one of your points real quick, and I'll let you go on. And I'm just going to say this right now, and this is the absolute truth, whether you believe it or not, because up until last year, he played fully healthy. If the Eagles had any questions about Carson Wentz long term, they would have went the Dak Prescott route with Carson Wentz rather than give him the extension. Because, mind you, he didn't get this extension this offseason. He got it last offseason. So the Eagles extended him after a gruesome ACL injury and then a season where he couldn't even finish because of his back. So if they had any questions about him long term, those would have been the times to kept those questions and do the Dak Prescott process. Whereas if you're not sure about Carson Wentz long term, you could franchise tag him. It's only a year.
And they weren't even close to being forced. So I don't know if Dak had a 4-year contract because he was a 3rd-round pick or 4th-round pick. Carson had a 5-year contract. There's that option.
Right. The Eagles never hesitated to extend him.
Right.
So
they technically did it 2 years before. That is like them. You can't be more invested in a prospect or a player.
Exactly. There's no slight hesitation in doing that where they could have been.
Yeah.
And I wouldn't even blame them because of the injuries. So to say that they're not that invested in Carson Wentz anymore because they drafted Jalen Hurts is wrong. That's not the truth. Because they could have done this. They would have had 1 year because, like you just said, Dak Prescott had a 4-year contract. Carson Wentz would still have the 5th-year option right now if they decided to do so to keep him on. They didn't even have to tag him exactly. So they could have went this whole Dak Prescott process, which with way cheaper, way less drama. Because it's a 5th-year option, there's nothing Wentz could do about it, and then they also have the franchise tag in their pocket.
Thank God
if they didn't believe it, if they weren't as invested in him, but instead he's coming off those 2 injuries. Honestly, the last performance you saw him was against the Saints, where he was awful. He was awful that game, and they didn't have any hiccup in giving him that extension. So to say that the Eagles are break year for Wentz with the Eagles, that's just not true. It's just not true. I'm sorry. And I just fully out explain it to you why. The Eagles are clearly invested in the backup quarterback position to the point of taking one in the 2nd round. And we shouldn't be surprised because I named all the very famous, well-known backups that they've had who had succeeded in Philadelphia with the Eagles. 2, they don't sign Carson Wentz that extension. Nothing was pushing them to do that. Howie Roseman had nothing but time on his side. But why waste time if you're already invested in the quarterback you have? If you know, hey, when we get Carson Wentz's contract, we're at least stuck with this deal for 3 years. We're stuck with Carson Wentz for 3 years. Do we want to go through 2019, 2020, 2021 with Carson Wentz? For sure. And that's when they decided yes. So it is not a make or break year for Carson Wentz. I don't know why Joe thinks that.
And this is kind of a super sidebar, but from the team's perspective, it was just a really smart deal as well. You're ahead of the market. You didn't have to get behind Patrick Mahomes, who just got paid ridiculous amounts.
Right, the Eagles. It was
just a make sense deal for everything. It made sense, and I'm happy.
And it makes sense for Wentz too because he's coming off 2 serious injuries. He might not get that offer again if he gets hurt again. So,
and he'll be the 16th highest paid quarterback. So whatever, but.
I'm not saying his contract negotiations were going to be along the lines of Dak Prescott's what they are now, but I'm saying if you have the 5th-year option in your back pocket for that 2021 season, that 2020 season, and you're not sure about Carson Wentz coming off that 2018 season, just play the process then.
Right.
You had nothing but time. But that's not how the Eagles felt. That's not how Jeffrey Lurie felt. That's not how Doug Peterson felt. That's not how Howie Roseman felt. They decided to, hey, we're investing in Carson Wentz. He's our quarterback no matter what. At least, I think I think that's hard to get out of that deal, and even in the 4th year. So at least for 4 years, you have to be tied to this guy. And they were completely fine with that. There was no hesitation in anybody's mind to do that. So drafting Jalen Hurts at the pick 53 when your quarterback does have durability concerns, it doesn't scream to me that that's a make or break year for Carson Wentz. That Jalen Hurts could potentially come in and take his job. But, I mean, that's just my take on it. I'm sure many Eagles fans will agree.
This is 4 months removed from the draft, because if you asked me 4 months ago, I would have fuck the pick. But no, it does, man. I mean, sleep time.
What helped was I love Jalen Hurts. I love Jalen Hurts coming out. He was my quarterback 3, to be honest with you. I was very high on Jalen Hurts, but
I want to get a convo with Johnny, because I didn't know, or I haven't seen that he's expressed that he because you mentioned that he doesn't think Hurts is going to pan out, or did I hear you?
He doesn't think he fits the offense. He doesn't think he fits the offense, but I don't think he does either. So that's why
I think there's a lot of West Coast in him.
There's West Coast concepts in him, but I don't think he could run a whole West Coast system with the way his mechanics are just not there yet. I think he could run a complete RPO type system and do masterfully.
They made it really easy with Nick Foles. I think he can run
exactly. Doug Peterson ran that system better than Chip Kelly did, so I'm not worried about that at all. If that has to happen, then I think they can still win for sure. But let's not get carried away, because that is going to be one of the episodes that we are doing. We are going to do a Jalen Hurts film review and decide between the three of us what kind of caliber quarterback we think. We're going to get some film people on for that too. So it's not just going to be us three. It's going to be like a whole mix of a
little
round table discussion. Yeah, a little round table of like what kind of caliber quarterback we think Jalen Hurts is. But Tyler, let's segue into something else now, because we really that was a lot of passion right there for almost 15 minutes. I love it. Let's get into this top 100 bullshit. Because I want to go quick with this real quick, because again, I haven't taken these lists serious for about 4 years now.
Things on the list, like, give me the first thing that pops in your mind. That's like just like the biggest.
So we're going to leave the Carson Wentz thing for last. That's the longest discussion. But to look me dead in the face, and tell me that Jalen Smith, Chris Carson, Buda Baker are better than Brandon Brooks?
Wait, Jalen Smith made the list?
Jalen Smith made the list over Levante David.
I didn't even know.
He's higher than Levante David. That's so dumb.
Linebacker made the list? Dude, he was so bad last year.
Yeah, so I'm about to say I like Jalen Smith, but I think he had a very down year last year.
Oh, God.
I think he's a good player. I don't think he deserved to be where I need to he's at 88. So Darius Slay at 92, and then they have Amari Cooper at 45, which is insane because Amari Cooper. Where is Amari Cooper? Am I wrong on that? No, Amari Cooper was at 49. Sorry, 49, not 45. Amari Cooper had 4 catches for 42 yards on Darius Slay when they matched up. So every time they matched up so far, I think it was 2 meetings. He's had 4 catches for 42 yards. And there's about almost a 50-spot difference between the two on the list. Jason Kelce, 94? Jason Kelce is 94 on this list. Arguably the best center in the NFL. I think it's between him and Rodney Hudson. But to put
the Jason Kelce, and then you said it earlier, fucking Brandon Brooks. I know we're Eagles fans, man, but like me and my brother, he's a huge Cowboy.
I don't care about being an Eagles fan for that.
No.
Generational talent at guard, especially in a passing league where the offensive line matters so much more than some of these guys that are on this list. Buda Baker, bro. Buda Baker is above Brandon Brooks.
It's
like that. Oh, I'm sorry. I'm screaming into the mic now, but
no, it's crazy.
It's just like, it's an outrage.
So I mean,
I'll have to do like a warning. Like, warning when you get to the 16-minute mark of the episode, turn your volume down on your car. But Buda Baker, I don't even think he's all that. I think he's a decent player, but I don't think he's a top 100 player.
There's so much going on. How did the biggest one for me was Josh Allen being featured on the list.
We're going to get into that in a second. I just want to say one thing though, because you're out there, so you probably have to deal with a lot of Raiders fans. Darren Waller carried the Raiders offense last year. Like, carried that offense. That offense is awful. And Derek Carr doesn't even like target down the field that much. and Darren Waller still targeted, carry that offense, and they have him at 99. Chris Carson,
Waller's
96.
I think he's going to emerge as a top 5 tight end this year if he didn't already.
I think I agree with you with that because I think Derek Carr holds him back so much too. So it's not even like it's just all him.
Trash. Derek Carr is so bad.
Derek Carr is a game managing type quarterback that you can win in if your starting quarterback goes down. You want to put him in and be safe. That's why I think Derek Carr does best. I don't know.
He's the quarterback that throws it away on 4th down.
Talk about a guy who needs to change the scenery though, because him and you can just tell John Gruden hates him. But back to the list. Darius Slay's too low. Zach Ertz. I mean, I don't want to make another episode crying about Zach Ertz because
that's why we made the episode. It's bullshit.
I know, but to put a top 3 tight end because only 3 tight ends made this list, which you could understand. Ertz,
Richard
Kelsey,
Sherman
Kittle.
at 28 is bonkers. I mean, I know he had a good year, but again, he is not.
No, it's all too high. He's not a top 30 player anymore.
Drew Brees at 12.
Yeah, definitely not a top 20 player anymore. Absolutely not.
We need to stop putting fucking disrespect on Julio Jones' name. My God, there's no receiver in football, man, better than him. Michael Thomas being at 5 is
Michael Thomas. Dude, oh my God, don't get me with this Michael Thomas stuff. So a lot of people are gonna be like, you guys are crazy, but I don't think Michael Thomas is a top 5 wide receiver.
You know what's a cool ranking for you? Dalvin Cook at 21. That's a cool one. I know you fuck with Dalvin.
I love Dalvin Cook, but he's not a top 20 player. He's not a top 25 player in the NFL.
It's terrible.
But this list is awful. But to my point about Michael Thomas, he's basically a tight end. He basically played the tight end role in that Saints offense. There's all slants, intermediate stuff, nothing downfield because, I mean, I don't want to sit here and say it's Michael Thomas's fault. It's really Drew Brees' arms just completely falling off a cliff. But it's not like Michael Thomas does much downfield anyways. That's why they had to bring in Emmanuel Sanders. Like, they needed more separation from guys.
Volume does not mean talent.
Yeah. When you're usually our high volume guy of Michael Thomas's like volume, you're a tight end usually. So that's why when I said that episode about Zach Ertz, and I don't know if anybody else agreed with me because all I heard was you saying that was good. That was a good one. But I think Michael Thomas is the Zach Ertz of the Saints offense.
Yeah, when you're evaluating a receiver, like think about what Deshaun does for an offense like the Eagles.
Take the box score out of it, please. Yeah. If you're evaluating a wide receiver, take the box score out of it. That's all I ask.
Well, yeah, of course.
There's too many. It's just too much context to add to some of these box scores because like Michael Thomas is in the Saints, Sean Payton, high octane passing offense that thrives on because now even Kyle Shanahan's kind of implementing to me, Kyle Shanahan is the mini Sean Payton. He's implementing all this yak stuff, all this short, intermediate stuff that is supposed to make yards after catch, and it works. They both do it well. That's why I think you can see like Michael Thomas on the Saints have crazy numbers because of that type of offense that they run.
There's about 5 to 7 receivers that can probably step in.
I'm a huge Mike Evans guy. I'm a huge Odell Beckham guy.
They're both better receivers.
Absolutely. Talent wise, absolutely, no doubt. Mike Evans is a top 3 wide receiver to me, in my opinion. But and Odell is at that caliber too. It's just Baker was that bad last year. Jameis was that bad the whole entire Mike Evans career. I don't care what the box score says. There were so many missed opportunities. And I live in Florida. I see so many Tampa games when I don't even want to. Like it really was all Jameis. I'm interested to see if Mike Evans performs along the same lines as Randy. Now I don't want to say it because I don't think Tom Brady's that in his prime anymore, but it would be interesting to see if he performs along the same lines of like one of Gronkowski's top seasons with Tom Brady now, because now he has the accuracy he always needed. He had like 27
I think Godwin
targets last year.
I think Godwin will be the receiver. And I think Evans is better.
It's possible too. That's also possible because Tom Brady targets the
where
slot
he is.
So
where he is now. I think the Evans fit. I wish it was in 2007 with Brady. 2007 Brady. That would be. But yeah, I just don't think it.
Then I would be more comfortable with that, saying that he would replicate a Randy Moss type season.
Yeah,
with Brady. But
the O line in Tampa is going to be huge. Brady can't
get back to
unless he gets that.
Do you think Zach Martin's better than Brandon Brooks? Like, without bias.
That's what I was gonna say. I mean, how big is the gap?
It's a big difference. It's a big gap.
50 or 40 or something.
It's 99 to 55.
55.
That's a huge gap. I think they're on the same caliber of player. It's hard to pick for me to pick one. I think Zach Martin
and then Quentin Nelson. I think they're all tier 1. I think those guys are tier 1.
They're all tier 1 for sure. But Quentin Nelson's really high on this list. He's 29.
Yeah. My brother's a Cowboys fan. He asked me that question like a week before this list came out. He was like, "Who's the best guard in the league?" And I was like, "Shit, I think Brandon Brooks."
But here's where you could have put Brandon Brooks, because you see, like, if you're gonna say Zach Martin and Quentin Nelson, I'm not gonna argue if you think those two are better. Honestly, I'm just not gonna argue with you on that. But
agreed.
Logan Ryan is not a better caliber player than Brandon Brooks. That's incredibly disrespectful. So you could switch Logan Ryan at 60, put Brandon Brooks there, and I think you would have more or less of an argument from Eagles fans. When you're talking about tight ends, I think 28 where Travis Kelce was at 18. So you went from the third, because this list is saying the players think that Zach Ertz is the third best tight end in the NFL, which I think he's the second. But you're telling me 85 to 18, and then I think Kittle was
like 7 or 9, or he was in the top 10, I think.
He was 7.
Yeah.
So you think Kittle, Kelce, and then there's a huge drop off to the third best tight end like that? That's
incorrect. Can I just get something off real quick? It's on my chest and it's bothering me.
Zach Ertz.
It's not even about
owns the NFL record in receptions of the season, and they're telling me that's that much of a drop off from Kelce.
And I appreciate you just going in on the Ertz thing, because it's needed. He doesn't get near lead, and this is why we had that segment. He doesn't get nearly enough respect. His blocking is not far off from Travis Kelce, and his receiving is better. So let's have that discussion. But the receivers again, DeAndre Hopkins is listed above Julio Jones. One thing that should go into everybody's receiver evaluations is speed and what it can bring to an offense. And Julio Jones, what makes him an absolute freak is he's like a 4'4" receiver, and he's 6'3", 220. And he's a great route runner. Like, Michael Thomas can't stretch the field, and that is a huge deal. That is why I would take a guy like Tyreek Hill over him, because you almost demand 2 guys at the same. You have to have a safety over the top, and you have to have a corner. You can't just put one guy. I think DeAndre Hopkins is a great receiver, but I also don't think he is an elite vertical threat like a Julio Jones. So there's this conversation every single year, who's the best receiver? It's Julio fucking Jones. And until something changes, he's in his own tier.
Yeah, it is Julio. The only thing that bothers me about Julio,
it's the ends or the touchdowns. But I have a theory with that too. I think Matt Ryan plays into that.
Yeah, he definitely does. He's accurate in the red zone. I've always said that.
But also he can't extend a play. Extending a play goes a huge way in touchdowns in the red zone.
It does also. I mean, yes, you're right. Matt Ryan definitely plays into it, absolutely. But Julio also, I think there's some situations where he plays a little bit down to his physical competition in the red zone, where it pisses me off. But he is the best wide receiver, and like I said in that Ertz episode, there's always a flaw in every player. There's there's no such thing as the perfect player. Like that's not how the NFL works. Every player has to have some certain type of weakness. If there wasn't a player with any type of weakness, if Pat Mahomes didn't have a single weakness at all, then the Chiefs are going to the Super Bowl every year. Because one of these players always makes one little mistake, no matter what. Am I right?
You're very right. Sorry, I'm taking a picture of you because you're just like leaned back with this feet up. This is amazing.
Wrong show, man. I am really show because I really have to relax. I have to relax for this Carson Wentz, because let's just get into it now. The fucking Javidian Clowney at 41 is probably where I would have put Carson Wentz, because Javidian Clowney was not good last year.
Clowney's becoming one of the most overrated
He's been overrated. He's really up there. Because he's overrated because of what people make him out to be, though. Because he's a complete He's a complete. Oh yeah, he was a beast at South Carolina. But yeah, a lot of people are still stuck at that. But he's a complete defensive end where he can stop the run. I think he's way better against the run than he is a pass rusher.
He's very similar to Brandon Graham.
Very, very, absolutely. That's a great comparison, actually. But I'm gonna get into that because we have some mailbag questions, and somebody asked about Clowney.
Oh, then we need to get into Carson's or
Clowney. That's what I'm getting right now. I would put Carson Wentz at 41 on this list. Just, I mean, I think he should be a little bit higher than that, to be honest with you. But if the perfect place to substitute him at, because if you're going off of last season, Clowney was not good in Seattle, dude. he was not that good as people think. Yeah, like 3 sacks. Again, he was double teamed like crazy because he was the only good player on that defensive line outside of Jerron Reed. But
he's a good player. He's not a great player.
Yeah, exactly.
But it is.
So I would put, because you can't tell me Jimmy Garoppolo is a better quarterback than Carson Wentz when he had less yards, same amount of passing touchdowns, and 6 more interceptions last year. That's ludicrous. And you can't tell me that freaking Ryan Tannehill. Look, I'm not a Ryan Tannehill hater because I know you're going to say that right now. I think he was great last year. I think he was exactly what the Titans offense finally needed, and they finally woke up on Marcus Mariota. I thought he had a great year, but he's not a better quarterback than Carson Wentz. That's bullshit.
No, I don't even mind, though. You can make an argument. I could see if people are like, hey, the Titans were having an average season. Ryan Tannehill came in, saved the season. He won. So I can see why
he played incredibly well. He deserves to be on this list, just not above Carson Wentz because
it just comes down to where is what's the structure of this list? Because if you're talking wins, Carson Wentz made the playoffs, and obviously we know what his surroundings were.
Right, but every argument you would make for Ryan Tannehill.
But if it's not wins and it's stats, then why is Josh Allen in it? Because his stats were terrible. So it's
20 Carson Wentz had 7 more passing touchdowns than him, more yardage, and 2 less interceptions.
Yards. It's 2020, and Josh Allen threw for 3,000 yards. 3,000.
And he had a perimeter threat the whole entire season. John Brown, Carson Wentz would have killed for John Brown.
Oh my gosh, there's this there's so many
1,000 yards last year. Like John Brown played well.
John Brown
played really well.
Smokey Brown is tight.
He is.
Yeah, he got the same contract.
Kyler Murray, I think, is a great quarterback, though. I think the Cardinals got it right with him.
Amazing year. I don't even mind.
He did for a rookie, especially that offensive line. I don't mind Kyler Murray made this. He should be above Josh Allen.
The one guy that should for sure be removed is Jimmy Garoppolo. He was not a top. I mean, and Josh Allen. Sorry, Josh Allen is my big one.
I think Jimmy Garoppolo played very well last year, considering the fact that was his first full season as a starter. Coming off the ACL injury too, like that's not the easiest thing to be 1 year removed.
I have a little bit of resentment towards Jimmy Garoppolo and the 49ers because of where I live. So I apologize.
It's all right.
I do downplay what he. No, he's not better than Carson Wentz.
He's not a 45 player in the NFL. Yeah, he's a very limited quarterback, no matter what. I don't mind him, but if you're making like a tier list, I would put Jimmy Garoppolo in like tier 4 quarterbacks.
You know who's actually underranked on this list is Kirk Cousins. Kirk Cousins had a fucking year last year, and he's at 58.
Look, and the thing about Kirk Cousins
I heard you say it on Twitter. Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz. It should not be when you say Carson Wentz is better than Deshaun, and that's fine. You can think Deshaun is better than Wentz, and I'll hear you out. I don't agree with it, but if somebody says that Carson Wentz is better than Deshaun Watson, it is not some like crazy asinine statement. That's like no, this is a very I can't believe he didn't make this list. It's so I've been trying to keep it cool, but like this had to be
honest with you, and I know every Eagles fan disagrees with this, but like to be honest with you, for a talent standpoint, Deshaun Watson and Carson Wentz are definitely interchangeable. That's not a bad thing. They're both really great quarterbacks.
Yes. There are things of Deshaun. I would say
Wentz is better than Watson personally, but from a talent caliber standpoint, from talent, because yes, I know what you're about to say, and I completely agree.
Oh,
from just a talent standpoint, though, they are both along the same lines of talented quarterbacks.
agreed. I agree. I 1,000% agree with that. And I think
That's
they
why,
missed in
that's
different
why
ways.
that opinion never bothers me. If anybody says Deshaun Watson's better than Carson Wentz, fine, I'll listen to it. But if you're telling me that you think Josh Allen is, then I think you're a dumbass. Like, if you're telling me that you think
Dak Prescott.
Ryan Tannehill is, Jimmy Garoppolo is, and I'm always the one that I think I always, I mean, you do too. We found out when we recorded that episode that we always say, like, Dak Prescott is good. Like, he's not bad. Like, he is a good quarterback. But yes, he's not better than Carson Wentz. I don't know. I'll die with that. He's not. It's not the truth. And if he was, I think Jerry Jones would have locked him up way before this whole situation happened. But that's just me.
Cowboys would just be a
because not only that. Here's my thing about where Cowboys fans argue about this, and I hate to get into this, but I'm sure people are gonna take what I'm about to say and use it as their comeback towards Cowboys fans. But never ever did Jerry Jones have a problem paying Tony Romo. He never once hesitated giving Tony Romo's contract extensions. Not once. And I know Cowboys fans are gonna say the money's different now, but back then the money then meant as much as it did now.
How many times did Tony Romo get paid? I think he only got one.
3 times.
Really?
He's got it might be 2. He's got 2 contract extensions.
Career late.
I know he started his career as an undrafted free agent, but once he first established himself as the starting quarterback of the Cowboys, they gave him a contract extension. And then after that, towards before that 2014 season, they gave him a huge contract extension.
Yeah, they did.
So I think it was only 2. Yeah. So my point, because Cowboys fans are going to say, well, the money is a lot different now. But back then, that's not how that was. The cap was lower.
Inflation.
It's inflation. You have to take that into consideration. So back then, the money did matter as much as it did now. And Jerry Jones never hesitated once to pay Tony Romo. There was pretty much the same thing with how the Eagles are paying Carson Wentz. They didn't wait. They didn't cause a huge issue. Tony Romo didn't hold out. There was no franchise tag with Tony Romo. They paid him. So that's the same owner, guys. I'm just saying.
The biggest thing when it comes to quarterbacks is it's just the fucking eye test, and that sucks because
it really is because you really can't go on stats for this crap. There's too much context.
There's too much context, and you hear that, and it's annoying. But it really is. Every position is. There's no more position that requires more context than quarterback. And
absolutely,
what receivers, what coach, O-line, time.
That, it gets so lost on Twitter that football's a team sport. I played it. Not the quarterback doesn't make the team run. The quarterback doesn't make the whole entire team. This quarterback wins and losses stat needs to go in the fucking garbage.
It's ridiculous. Yeah,
that's not how a team works. It's 22 players contributing at all times on the football field, and then the kicker and the punter also matter too. Everybody matters. Even the backups matter. Just to say well, Carson Wentz has 0 playoff wins. He hasn't had a great record.
That has 1, bro.
Right, but then to say oh well, you mean the Eagles were 9-7 last year? Carson Wentz can't be that great because of that. That's what people base opinions on. I'm you're an idiot. That's not how football works. That's not. It's not how it works at all. It's a team sport. So that's why I always hate the quarterback wins and losses because I'm just if I ever bring that up, I'm always just trolling. It's always just a troll because I'm this is stupid. It's a team sport. I played it. You played it. It doesn't even matter even what level you played it at. You can play at Pop Warner. That it's a whole team effort. There's not just one guy. The quarterback can play as well as he wants to, but if the wide receivers aren't catching it, the running backs aren't going, the defense isn't stopping the team from scoring, shit's going to hit the wall.
Yep.
Doesn't matter how well the quarterback plays.
You can only
Carson Wentz can't throw the ball up in the air and then run down the field and catch it at the same time. That's not how football works.
Right. You can only have so much of an impact on the game. That's why I think basketball. You should almost think basketball players should be considered. We should value their win total more when it comes to that because there's only 5 players on the field. There's 22.
The only time people worry about that is when it's the LeBron and Jordan debate.
Yeah,
that's the only time that people get all in know about that. But let's get into the mailbag.
Let's do it. Let's do it.
All right. So Max on Facebook from Pottstown has a question for us, and I made this the first one for a reason because I think it's going to be the most extensive answer because I kind of liked it. He said, "Do you guys think there's any chance the Eagles drafted Jalen Hurts out of fear Carson Wentz could follow Andrew Luck's path?"
Ooh.
That to me, I was like, "Whoa, all right, what a question!" Because that's
I definitely
interesting
think
to
that's
think
going to
about.
become a more normal thing. That just guys are just like
Well, especially
real.
now with COVID, because I mean, with all we don't even know what the long term effects of having it is.
Yeah,
And the people on the team are testing positive with it. Carson Wentz has to be subjected to them no matter what, and has a newborn baby. But take that out of even the equation, because I think you're right. I think it's going to be a more normal thing now. It's going to be the new norm of guys retiring early and stuff like that. But he has almost the same injury history as Andrew Luck. Like, if you take this back to his college days at North Dakota State, he got banged up there a couple times as well too. And then the NFL, it's been about 3 times he's been seriously hurt. Maybe 4 if you want to count the concussion, which I think it's really just like a weak thing, but it's still a head injury.
The one thing though, Carson's just a gamer. I think that he
That's
would
what I'm
just.
saying. I don't. Here's the thing
Like his
about
competitive nature, like you
think
see
about,
it.
though,
Like I
because
don't know.
I don't think he would do it.
Yeah,
Honestly,
I don't
either.
think
I
so.
don't think he's just too much of a competitor. I think he wants to win the Super Bowl for himself.
Especially if he starts to like
Be-
really, really have as much success as we think he can have. Like if he,
Right, then
you know,
you have to keep riding that wave.
because
Yeah,
he's then obviously not getting hurt and he's having this. Yeah,
I don't think he would be the situation where Andrew Luck felt that he was in ever. I think
do you think Andrew Luck comes back?
It could happen. It could. Who
That was
knows?
another
It could happen.
conversation me and my brother were having. I think that there's like how crazy would it be if just next year the Pats miss out on Lawrence and they're like Andrew
man.
Luck is Belichick's guy.
I always think about him going back to the Patriots too. So that's funny you said that. But yeah, I don't know. I don't know if he has. I don't know if he has that in him though. It doesn't sound like he did when he left. Like he didn't sound like he loved the game anymore like he used to. I don't think Carson Wentz is ever in that position where he's not loving the game as much as he does. He seems like he loves it a lot.
Yeah.
But my thing is, maybe the Eagles did take it into consideration because it's not the Eagles have ties to that Colts organization. Frank Reich took that job expecting Andrew Luck to be the guy, so it's not like the Eagles aren't like completely blind. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So it's not like the Eagles are completely blind to that situation. They're like, hey, our coach is going through this, and now they found out Jacoby Brissett was crap, not the guy that they can lean on. Now they're relying on Philip Rivers at the end of his career to be the guy for them to compete. They're too talented to finish in a position to draft a quarterback high. So are we.
Poor Ty. I think Ty is like I don't think he fits Rivers.
I don't think so either.
I think Michael Pittman could have a really big rookie year if he gets on the field.
I agree with that. All right. Johnny on Facebook from Downingtown. Is it time for the Eagles to call Jadeveon Clowney and offer him a proven contract to reboot his market?
No.
Everson Griffin. If they add a defensive end,
how much do you think Griffin would cost? What is your max that you would pay him?
Well, the Eagles have some money to work with at least, but
I'm getting more nervous because we already knew about it.
I would give him a Chris Long type contract, like what they gave Chris Long in 2017.
5.5, something like that.
Yeah, because his market's not even there right now, so I don't know like how much leverage does Everson Griffin even have.
That's my one thing is like, I mean, just 14 or 15 for Clowney is just too rich.
They need somebody if they want to win a Super Bowl. They need somebody to have this Chris Long type role.
I think it may be on the roster though.
It might be on the roster. It might be Vinny Curry because Vinny Curry actually performed along the same lines as Chris Long did last year. So
or Avery or
yeah, it could be, but man, Everson Griffin though.
Yes, I do think I agree with you as far as the fit. It just comes down to cost.
It does.
I don't know what.
And if it wasn't cost, it would happen already. But to answer the question, Johnny, no, we do not think they should bring in Jadeveon Clowney. I just don't think it's a good fit. It's not like we think Jadeveon Clowney's a bad player, but we just compare him to Brandon Graham. We don't need 2 Brandon Grahams on the. I'm worried the Eagles have a poor man's Brandon Graham and Derek Barnett as is. So I would bring in Everson Griffin for the pass productivity standpoint and the fact that he's not going to demand to eat all Derek Barnett snaps. He can come in on the key third downs. He can come in on key patchy downs.
I hate how much I agree with that Derek Barnett is a poor man Brandon Graham. It's got me sad. I'm sad about that.
It is because as a top 15 player, you should not
I
be
keep
a poor
I keep
man's
hearing his
playmaker.
age. I keep hearing his age, and I'm
It doesn't matter.
I'm hoping it's
Yeah, that means little to nothing to me. I think I think Derek Barnett's an average player, and that's fine. It's not a big deal anymore.
I'm gonna go on his Instagram and get hyped. Hopefully, he's got workout videos or something that I could get excited about.
I hope he take a lead. Like you said, we predicted a big season for him, but I think Javon Hargrave plays a huge impact of the reason why. So,
Yeah,
but
or that
let's get
man, he's. Whoo, I can't wait to see him next to Fletcher.
absolutely.
Man.
All right, so Dylan at Dylan Papapilly on Twitter from Coatesville. That Dylan Papapilly, that's his @ on Twitter, so you guys can go give him a follow real quick. Do you guys think the Eagles have enough weapons on offense for Carson Wentz to succeed? I don't think they did enough on the offensive side to improve. Ooh,
I do. Yeah, I do.
Outside of Rager, I don't know because I would have loved for them to bring in Brashad Perryman. I thought that was the move they should have made.
I think
Marquise Goodwin, they tried. I don't think they expected that to happen. I'm not going to fault Harry Roseman for COVID.
The Goodwin thing stings ridiculous. a little bit because the more time after that signing, the more excited I got about it and I kind of said it, and the more I thought about it, I believed it even more. If Deshaun does get hurt, I thought that Goodwin would have been a perfect replacement that you could just trust out there. But I mean,
I don't even think Goodwin's that good. I questioned if he was going to make the team in the first place, but then COVID really started to pick up a little bit, and I was like,
a lot of juice, dude. He's got a lot of.
I don't.
I think he's a little bit more polished in the route
running. Season with the 49ers and CJ Beaterhard or whatever his last name is.
Bethard, yeah.
Bethard. I don't think he's that good. But I will say, Torrey Smith wasn't like amazing in 2017. The speed factor is what matters the most. They need somebody that can stretch the field. And yes, if Deshaun went down, then I could trust Cooper to go in there and be that guy. And after the pandemic really started to set in and the reality of it was kicking in, I was like, okay, he's making the team for now for sure because these rookies aren't going to be ready. But he opted out of the season. I'm not going to blame Harry Roseman for that. Like I saw some people on Twitter doing, which I thought was ridiculous. So I think they did enough. I think they brought in Jalen Reagor, who I think is going to be a long-term option for sure, because I'm like completely sold on the guy way before the Eagles drafted him, way before this draft. I was all in on Jalen Reagor. So from that standpoint, I think they did enough. They finally found their long-term playmaker. I thought they could have brought in Brashard Perryman. I think they should have attacked the free agent wide receiver a little bit more, even in addition to Goodwin, just because their depth chart is that poor. They know they can't rely on Alshon Jeffrey. If they're at best they get him back in December, and if they do get him back, what is he at this point? A shell, complete shell of his former self.
There's a mixture of you're getting Deshaun back, you get Jalen, which that's the first round pick,
and they're relying on JJ Arcega-Whiteside, which I think,
and then
to be honest, isn't that fair.
The Goodwin thing just happened, so they may go out and go get.
Yeah, they can still do more. True, they can still
Taylor Gabriel. I don't know what. I mean, yeah, we'll see. But
they can still do more. I think they could. I think they did semi enough because they finally got that long-term playmaker option at wide receiver. But I really would have liked for them to bring in Brashad Perryman. I would have loved that.
We could be having a conversation of, man, we need more. We need a veteran receiver if there is an injury again.
Right. Watch after this episode airs, Perryman opts out for the Jets season. So it's not like we ever know like if these guys are going to play or not anyways. So Chris on Instagram from Westchester asked, many, including myself, thought Nigel Bradham would be back on a low salary contract. With the Eagles just letting him bounce to New Orleans, are they really content with their linebacking group? Why are they devaluing the position so much? All right, because we talk about the linebacking position a lot. I never was. I didn't think they were going to bring back Bradham. I don't think he has it anymore. To me, if you bring him back, he needs to play the Sam. I don't even think the Eagles are like a team that's considering linebacking have to play a certain position anymore because they play majority dime. I think they really just want one guy that can cover a lot of space, and Nigel Bradham at this point of his career cannot do that. So
you know the running narrative for running backs that it's like they're just replaceable. Like you can kind of just find them. That's how the Eagles view linebacker position. It's just kind of just you can rotate, man. We'll find it depends on the
not necessarily right either. I think they need a good linebacker, but
I think for certain
Johnny's
defenses,
kind of sold me a little bit on Nate Gary, to be honest with you. I don't think Nate Gary is that amazing player. I don't think he's ever going to be a good linebacker. But Johnny, the philosophy and formula that Johnny laid out for him, kind of made me think, if the Eagles really get this out of him, okay, I could be happy. But the way that the NFL is going with linebackers, the Eagles just need a Fred Warner. They just need a Fred Warner type linebacker, and they think they can get that. Nate Gary. I look back to because Johnny pointed this out to me. I look back. Linebackers a lot of the top linebackers had a ton of missed tackles, and that's what we really killed Nate Gary for. So you look at it from a coverage perspective, a lot of these linebackers are basically those tackles because they have to cover so much ground and cover so much space, and that's what the Eagles think Nate Gary could do. So I'm just gonna let them give. I don't think they did the right approach at linebacker. I don't know if they did enough. But I'm just going to trust that they think Nate Gary and Davion Taylor can be these guys in this new era of linebacking, and we'll see. I'm not incredibly confident, but they play majority dime, so it's going to be one linebacker out there anyways, and then Will Parks.
With how much they emphasize the defensive line, it is okay to kind of shy away from it. I mean, yeah, it would be nice to have a Luke Kuechly in there. but with how much they value they just don't spend high resources on it. It's just I don't think it's necessarily important. I do think for the times when they are in the traditional 4-3, and they're going against opposing two tight end sets, Bradham is a good fit against the run for sure. But I mean, as soon as there's a misdirection or you need a linebacker to cover ground, he just was not good. he's got to attack, and that's it. That's all he really knows how to do.
So I just think Brad's cooked. I think he might be good in New Orleans system because they play so many linebackers, and Kiko Alonso just got put on PUP. So if he could play the Sam there, he might be all right. But in the Eagles system, he was cooked. He wasn't going to fit anymore. I'm fine with not bringing Brandon back. All right, Cameron on Facebook from Orlando, Florida. Should the Eagles still bring in a veteran running back, even with LaShawn McCoy going to Tampa now? I mean, I saw you're on this Devontae Freeman train. To me, I don't think they need to bring in a veteran running back. I'm always going to say this. I think they're fine with the position that they have now. Give the young guys a chance, give Corey Clement a chance. But there's also some added advantages of bringing a veteran, which you're going to hit on. So I'll let you take it away.
And that's what I was going to say is if they decide not to, I'm not going in nervous. Because
this isn't something that you could. It's just such a interchangeable position, and
I'm entirely okay with just rolling with Sanders.
But they bring in Freeman, then yes, it's just more weapons. So I
just think he's a really good
win-win.
Fit. I just think he's a fit. I know it's kind of boring take, but if they leave it, cool. If not, I would like to see a Freeman type.
Yeah. I mean, wouldn't it be bad? That's the only running back at this point that I would even say.
But Shady never made sense.
No.
Shady never made sense.
I don't think he's going to be good in Tampa anyways either. I think it was more of a lean on Ronald Jones, teach him your ways type of thing. Keyshawn Vaughn, all those guys over there. Because at this point, I mean, Andy Reid, the guy that drafted LaShawn, wouldn't even play him in the postseason of the Super Bowl. So I don't know what much more he can give you if the coach that drafted him told you he's not even good enough to play anymore.
I hope Ronald Jones pans out. He's on my dynasty team. I need him to pan out.
I think he'll have a good season this year without Jameis's turnovers and playing from behind all the time.
Just comes down to pass protection with Brady.
Mm-hmm. Nick on Facebook for King of Prussia. You guys been praising Zach Ertz lately, and I absolutely love it. He's been so underappreciated during his Philly tenure. Now, he did turn down a contract extension during the 2019 season. Should the Eagles be concerned about agreeing to terms with Ertz considering their 2021 cap and needing to pay Goddard soon? That's a good question.
They definitely should pay Ertz before Kittle gets his.
Yeah.
Kittle is about to get paid fat. So
that's what I'm trying to think. I'm wondering if the Eagles are actually working on this right now. I wonder if that's gonna be their surprise because it always seems like in training camp they have that one big extension, and to me I think it's gonna be Zach Ertz just because I think Howie Roseman's already taken the cap into consideration now that this is like such a lost season, and he's looking at the Eagles have what, like, I think if you look at their top 53 players on the team, they have about 20 something million in cap. I would just sign Zach Ertz now, give him a lot of money guaranteed up front that takes up whatever it has to take up in this cap, and then just make the his cap figure in 2021 low as possible, low as you could possibly make it.
Yeah,
that he agrees to.
I mean,
it just makes a ton of sense. You just don't take away your quarterback's best weapon.
I am curious to see how they handle signing Dallas Goedert and what his.
You pay both. No hesitation. Yeah. No hesitation whatsoever. He might get longer years.
Like, what do you think his market would be? 9 a year?
Big though. So that's what I you would have to think. It might be more than that, because if Dallas Goedert was to hit the open market, and I'm sure his agent's telling him this,
yeah, he would probably make.
He'd probably make Austin Hooper money because of the potential. Because he could definitely be. I think he's a top 10 tight end in this league. He would definitely easily be a number one tight end on at least 28 teams.
Yeah,
25 to 28 teams.
I want him to.
And how free agency works, the top guy that's on the market at the time always gets overpaid. It doesn't matter. Austin Hooper got way overpaid, I thought. And I know Dallas Goedert doesn't have the production of Austin Hooper, but his potential's obviously there. Every Eagles fan hypes him up. We all think he's an amazing tight end. He is. He's very talented. Every team would look at him the same way. So that's why I'm wondering if his agent would – I don't know how Dallas Goedert would view how he wants to stay with the Eagles or not, if he wants to attack the open market and get paid top dollar, because he would get it. But
is this year 4 for him? Or 3?
No, he was drafted the second round in 2018, so it's 3, yeah. It's going to be interesting. It's coming up. Next year, he's on the last year of his deal. So in 2022, he's a free agent.
Oh, it was second round.
Oh, he's a second round pick. Yeah, they traded down. The Ravens get Lamar, and they traded down and got Goddard.
Yeah.
I would just sign both. I mean, I know you and I debated about it, but they're not gonna change from the 12 personnel. I think they're still gonna majority stick to the 12 personnel.
Yeah, it's a huge advantage. You don't draft a guy that early and then just say nah.
Because people are thinking like this whole idea of paying 2 tight ends is ridiculous, but I'm saying like the 2 tight ends are pretty much your 2. How you value 2 starting wide receivers. Teams pay both.
Yes.
So what's wrong with paying both the tight ends then? If that's what the situation is. So I pay both, but I think Ertz would probably have less years on his deal than Goddard would, though. So you could probably give Ertz like a 2-year extension on top of whatever years he has now.
I think Ertz
lower his cap figure. I think he only has 1 year. He might only have 1 year left on his deal, to be honest with you, maybe 2. But regardless, I mean, I don't know. I keep both. There's no way like Zach Ertz go and then just rock it out with Goddard and hope to get another tight end, because that's just you make yourself so much worse on offense doing so.
This is Ertz last year
on his deal.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that extension happens during camp.
No, sorry, he has next year. I apologize.
All right, but even if you sign him to an extension, then if you throw even a 2-year extension, that's a 4-year deal for him then, because it includes these 2 years that are upcoming right now. So that's perfect. So that's something you could probably see during training camp. Is Zach Ertz agrees to like a 2-year contract extension, the Eagles give him a bunch of guaranteed money up front. His 2021 cap figure gets lowered, and then he gets backloaded money, because that's usually what Howie Roseman likes to do, is backload contracts. And then you work on Goddard, because you're going to have Alshon off the books soon. You're going to have Deshaun off the books soon. I would assume, because Jalen Reagor's on his rookie contract, I'm assuming if they want to figure out the wide receiver opposite of him long term, if it's not J.J. Arcega-Whiteside, you would go through the draft and try drafting one in the first round again. Especially in this 2021 class that's coming out right now, it's a good stack up. Well, it's heavily loaded with number 1 true wide receivers. So you get one of those guys during the first round of that draft, pair long term with Jalen Reagor, then they're both on rookie deals. You could pay Goddard and Ertz what you're paying them. They take up the huge wide receiver contracts. Boom. There you go. Perfect way of doing that.
One reason why I was okay not drafting another receiver in round 2 or 3 was how deep the receiver draft is this upcoming draft. This draft is going to be nuts again. And I want them to go round 1 or 2.
As deep as this one was, but it's top heavy. It's more top heavier than this one was.
Yeah.
For sure. All right.
Yeah.
Last question. Brandon at Brandon Vidrine on Twitter from Louisiana. Do you guys think Matt Pryor starts any games for the Eagles this season? Also, who's your surprise player on defense that no one is talking about that brings an unexpected impact this season? All right, so Matt Pryor definitely starts games this season, absolutely, for sure. Whether Jason Peters plays the whole season at right guard, he won't play the whole season. I think he will be back to left tackle, but regardless, his injury history is real. He misses some snaps during games. Matt Pryor will definitely get some viable playing time no matter what this year. Absolutely, now that Brandon Brooks is down. My surprise player on defense would probably be Jannard Avery because I do think he's going to play some type of role. I think he's going to have that Josh Sweat. I don't want to say Josh Sweat 2019 season, but 2018 season where you saw the Eagles put him in more. Maybe he has a 2019 type snap count impact because, again, they don't really have the defensive end depth clear picture there yet. We don't know if any crazy can come back. We don't know if they're going to add anybody else. So I think Jannard Avery could do that because he can also drop back into the coverage. I think the Eagles are going to want to do that a little bit more with him on the field. So I think Jannard Avery will be that guy. I'll probably take your answer though, right?
Man, you're too good at this. You just kind of just answer that all to yourself.
I felt bad. I was like, I'm going to try to pick somebody else, but I can't really think because
it's not really a surprise. But somebody who I think has a real, I guess, role in this defense is I think Jalen Mills is going to be really, really, really damn good. Whether it be at safety or if he slides to cornerback too. I think he's going to be a really damn solid starter for us. I don't think he's going to be like a rotation. I think he's going to be a starter. And
that's a good answer.
Have a pretty good year.
I like that answer. I like that answer a lot. That's a good answer. But do you think Matt Pryor plays a lot? I mean, I
yes.
think it's
100%. That one was a thing where I was like, yeah, I mean, I would just repeat you. Yes, he. Yeah, that's for every reason. Peters, I don't think Peters is going to stay healthy. I mean, you just can't count on him for 16 games.
Right. There's no way. Yeah, absolutely not. All right. That's it from us. We talked about a ton of stuff. Tune in next week, next Monday. If everything's going on, everything's going all right. We'll see how the schedules work because I'm down for that. I'll be ready for Sunday with Joe. But next Monday
it's going down.
It's going all right. So next Monday 100%. We will have that episode out with WIP Joe Gugudo joining the show. We will discuss Carson Wentz, his thoughts on Howie Roseman, Doug Peterson. Finally, get to the truth of why he feels these ways. We'll debate him with facts, see how he responds. It's going to be an interesting episode. So tune in to next Monday. Again, thanks for tuning in today. Got some good information out. Got a great mailbag. We appreciate that. Again, you can leave questions for the show on Apple Podcast reviews or
go
ahead.
I forgot. Go Birds!
Go Birds. All right. You can at the show at Eagles Brawl on Twitter. Thanks for tuning in, guys.